Luigi Mangione had an outburst after a hearing today in which the judge announced his New York State trial will begin on June 8th. As the hearing wrapped up, the 27-year-old said, quote, "Same trial twice, 1 + 1 = 2, double jeopardy by any common sense definition." Mangione appeared to be referring to the separate federal case against him. That trial is set to begin with jury selection on September 8th, so this means the two trials could overlap. Mangione is accused of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Manhattan in 2024. He has pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of federal stalking and second-degree murder, weapons, and forgery charges in New York. Last week, a judge dismissed a federal murder charge that carried the possibility of the death penalty and a related firearm offense. So let's bring in CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman. She's been following this. You were in court today. What more can you tell us about sort of the outburst today and why the judge made that decision that the state trial should go first?
So the outburst happened as Luigi Mangione was being led out of the courtroom as this all ended. So he was handcuffed and just started shouting as he was at the doorway. And that's when he said what you just read. In terms of why the judge made this decision, he seemed to feel very strongly that the state should go first here. He said they had done the bulk of the work, that the federal government had reneged on agreeing earlier that the state could go first, he said. What the prosecution argued is that this is a crime that happened on the streets of New York to someone who was a visitor here. They said that even Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO's family, wants the state trial to go first, Lindsay. And there's also this double jeopardy issue. There is a strong argument that if the federal case goes first, the state case will not be able to move forward because of New York's double jeopardy law.
So what are Mangione's attorneys saying?
They say this is unreasonable, that their client is being put in an untenable position here, Lindsay, and essentially he's at the middle of this tug of war that's going on between state and federal prosecutors. They think that the federal trial should be able to proceed, that also they know that then the state trial might never be able to go at all, but they just say it's impossible for them to prepare for these at the same time. The federal judge has set this timeline, so there are all these deadlines that would be going on as they were preparing and then in a state criminal trial.
I mean, as we mentioned, is it possible that these could overlap? How would that even work?
I don't see that happening, and
Okay.
I think it's also why the prosecution had asked for a July 1st date. The judge made it June 8th, and I think he did that to give some more buffer room here. The other one is set with jury selection on September 8th right now. He also said with the federal case, it's a little complicated, but they just dismissed 2 charges. One carried the death penalty. If the prosecution decides to appeal that, that could sort of postpone that trial. He said if that happens, that the state one could instead start on September 8th, which is when the federal one is currently supposed to begin with jury selection. He also told the defense attorneys, you can appeal this to the judge, the federal judge, Margaret Garnett, if you don't think that this is fair. But he just kept very firmly saying, I will see you on June 8th.
Okay, we know you'll stay on top of it. Thank you, Katrina Kaufman.